EA has held the exclusive rights to make a Star Wars game for years. Though that deal has thankfully ended, they still have upcoming titles in the works that Star Wars fans have been eager to hear about, specifically the sequel to Star Wars Jedi, Fallen Order, and a continuation of the Star Wars Battlefront series. But don't expect to hear about anything at their upcoming July event. Of course, fans like myself would have liked to hear about what's next for EA's different Star Wars series, but pushing back any information a year does indicate it's likely we'll see whatever comes next only release on PS5. The publisher announced the news via their official EA Star Wars Twitter account, which does sadly state we won't be seeing anything at the next EA Play Live event on July 22, 2021, but there is a consolation prize of sorts. We only have to wait a year to hear more. Anyone who's seen their fair share of 90s comedies has likely had an encounter with the Weasel. No, we're not talking about Sean Gunn's character Weasel from The Suicide Squad, James Gunn's upcoming movie about the titular team of comic book villains turned heroes. Though there are bound to be plenty of laughs when that movie finally comes out. EA says that they'll be ready to share what their plans are for Star Wars next year, so at least we have that to look forward to. We won't be showing any new Star Wars games at EA Play Live on July 22. But all of us look forward to celebrating with you next year when we share our vision for the galaxy far, far away. EA Star Wars, at EA Star Wars, July 15, 2021. It's unfortunate to hear that we won't know more for another year. Especially because while EA held exclusive rights, they only developed 4 Star Wars games, 2 of which required multiple fixes and patches after broken launches. The Weasel is the name of the whiny, slacker dude bro persona actor and comedian Pauly Shore developed during his rise to stardom. Shore recalled the first time he took on the Weasel persona in an edition of The First Time for Rolling Stone in September 2020. They've made up for a lot of this, especially with Battlefront, which if you play today, is loads of fun. Fans were also delighted by the fact that Star Wars Jedi: Fallen Order was a narrative-focused, single-player game without microtransactions. The future of what's to come for EA Star Wars games is much brighter than it used to be, but that has only made the waiting harder. It was June 3, 1990. It was my opening show for Totally Pauly, he said. It just kind of happened spontaneously. At least once we start to see Star Wars projects from other studios, we could potentially be in for another renaissance of quality Star Wars video games. I was like, yo, check out this video, it's gonna be major, bro. Billy Idol, Rock the Cradle of Love. Shore said when they took the tape back to his mother's house, he knew he had something. Then I just started pausing between my words and acting silly, he added. The MTV thing was really where it all kind of started. Shore went on to play different versions of the Weasel in a few different 90s flicks, including 1992's coming-of-age comedy, Encino Man, 1993's Fish Out of Water comedy, Son-in-Law, 1995's legal laugh fest, Jury Duty, and 1996's conservationist cut-up, Biodome. But smack in the middle of those was 1994's In the Army Now, which saw the Weasel join the Army Reserve in search of a guaranteed paycheck and low risk of being activated. Joining Shore in the cast were a number of popular actors who've gone on to enjoy successful careers. This is where the cast of In the Army Now is today. Pauly Shore played lead character Private First Class Bones Conway. Pauly Shore took on the lead role of Private First Class Bones Conway for In the Army Now. Bones and his fellow slacker Jack work at the oddly named Crazy Boys electronics store but dream of one day opening their own store. It's just too bad they can't build enough capital to do so after getting fired when Bones insults his boss Quinn while trying to make out with his girlfriend, which Jack unwittingly broadcast to the entire store. As Bones posits during a round of mini-golf, their newfound freedom puts them one step closer to the store, but Jack contends it puts them closer to living in the dumpster. Their solution is to join the Army Reserve as water purification specialists. After all, Bones' brother is a pool guy, how hard can it be? And it's not like they're going to start lobbing water balloons during the next big skirmish. Naturally, things don't go as planned. After In the Army Now, Shore continued to make the same brand of comedic films for a few years before his popularity declined. In addition to the aforementioned Jury Duty and Biodome, he made 1997's ill-received The Curse of Inferno. Shore also started doing voice work in 1995's A Goofy Movie, and a couple of direct-to-video releases featuring Casper the Friendly Ghost. He tried to reinvent himself with the mockumentary, Pauly Shore is Dead, which fared considerably better with critics. It holds a 57% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, than most of his 90s comedies. The 2009 mockumentary Adopted chronicled his fake journey to Africa to adopt a child like other celebrities. Shore's most recent lead role came in 2020's Guesthouse, as Randy Cockfield, the unwanted inhabitant of the title dwelling. Andy Dick played Bones' right-hand man. Private Jack Kaufman actor and comedian Andy Dick took on the role of Bones' loyal friend and partner, Jack Kaufman. He might not always be thrilled about it, but he's always there, including following Bones' major misfire about the water purification training. The thing is, water purification is the reserve occupation most likely to be called up in the event of a desert-based conflict, and that's exactly what happens. Jack and Bones engage in a last-ditch effort to avoid getting shipped out to Chad by pretending to be lovers, which would conflict with the "don't ask, don't tell" policy in the United States military enacted under President Bill Clinton, but are unable to go through with a kiss to appease a commanding officer's doubts. Dick has continued to find steady work in Hollywood following In the Army Now, including appearing as Matthew Brock on the popular sitcom, News Radio, for 5 seasons, though he's encountered some hurdles along the way. Over the years, he has had some well-publicized brushes with the law and demonstrated plenty of outlandish behavior at Comedy Central roasts. According to a 2016 Vice article, Dick has struggled with drug and alcohol dependencies and been to rehab 20 times to attempt to remain sober. Professionally, he's had memorable cameo roles in comedies like Road Trip, Zoolander, and Old School, in addition to starring as the evil son of Santa Claus in 2003's The Hebrew Hammer. Lori Petty played the feisty Private Christine Jones. We first meet actor Lori Petty's fiery Christine Jones after Drill Sergeant Ladd, Lynn Whitfield, has done the impossible in whipping Bones and Jack into soldiers during their time in basic training. When they show up for water purification training, Jack is immediately drawn to Christine and starts making awkward and uncomfortable advances, at which point she tells Bones she's going to have to kill his friend. Bones responds by turning to start up a conversation with someone else to make a new friend to potentially replace Jack. Christine, it seems, has chosen water purification for her reserve occupation because of its likelihood for activation. Her real interest is serving in the infantry, but they didn't allow women in combat at the time. Luckily their unit is called up so she doesn't have to settle for kicking Jack's butt. Petty had already begun an established film career before her turn in the Army Now, including the roles of Lila, girlfriend to Robin Williams's character in Cadillac Man, Tyler, the love interest who taught Keanu Reeves' character to surf in Point Break, and pitcher Kit Keller, sister to Gina Davis's catcher Dottie Hinson in A League of Their Own. In 1995, she took on the lead role of the title character in Tank Girl, an adaptation of the post-apocalyptic Dark Horse Comics property of the same name. In the years since, she made guest appearances on shows like Star Trek, Voyager, NYPD Blue, CSI, NY, House, Prison Break, and Gotham. She also landed the recurring role of Lolly Whitehill and appeared in 24 episodes of the popular Netflix series, Orange is the New Black. David Alan Grier played the always terrified Private Fred Ostroff. Shortly after viewers are introduced to Christine Jones, they get to meet Private Fred Ostroff, as portrayed by David Alan Grier. When she informs Bones Conway that she's going to have to kill Jack, Bones turns and introduces himself to Fred to keep his friend scale balanced to a zero-sum game. As Fred tells it, he's scared of damn near everything, and he joined the Army Reserve on the advice of his therapist, who said he should be all he could be, on the weekends. Prior to In the Army Now, Grier had already established a powerful television resume, thanks to his numerous appearances on the Wayans family's sketch variety show, In Living Color, and he followed it up a week later, appearing alongside Damon Wayans in 1994's Blankman. He got the chance to work with comedic legend Robin Williams in 1995's first, Jumanji, film. Grier played the recurring character the Reverend Leon Lonnie Love on Martin, and later took on the role of Bernard in Damon Wayans' one-season law enforcement sitcom, Damon. In more long-term work, Grier played the role of the show within the show's producer David Bellows for 2 seasons of the CBS sitcom, Life with Bonnie, and portrayed Joe Carmichael, the father of the series' lead, over 3 seasons of The Carmichael Show. He also appeared in plenty of episodes of Comedy Central's Puppets Making Prank Calls shows, Crank Yankers, across both of its runs, in addition to the 2104 CBS television adaptation of Bad Teachers. Asai Morales played the tough-as-nails Staff Sergeant Stern. When Bones' bunch of misfits get activated for service, they head to Chad, where First Sergeant Williams, Art LaFleur, chews Bones out for his seeming ignorance of military nomenclature. He's had a few sergeants before, after all. In the mess hall, after Brendan Fraser's cameo as a solider named Link, a clever nod to his role in Pauly Shore's Encino Man, Bones attempts to replicate Staff Sergeant Stern's, Asai Morales, impressive field stripping of his weapon with his flashlight, only to have the spring launch and land in Stern's food, thereby igniting a base feud for the ages. The Water Boys eventually end up rescuing Stern from captivity and the breach is mended. In the years since, Morales has kept plenty busy, finding tons of success on the small screen. His first big role after In the Army Now came in 2001 when he took on the part of Lieutenant Tony Rodriguez on NYPD Blue. Morales portrayed the character across 3 seasons of the popular police procedural, appearing in a total of 66 episodes. He also appeared as Major Edward Beck in 7 episodes of Jericho, as well as taking on the role of Section Chief Mateo Cruz in 6 episodes of Criminal Minds. Recently, Morales appeared as Marty Bird's cartel contact Del in Season 1 of Ozark, the guy who ripped Marty's toenails off. Since then he's landed a recurring role as Deputy Director Luis Ochoa on NCIS, Los Angeles, and fans of DC's Titans series will recognize Morales as Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke.